Oh my God, football is back. We've got games. We had Thursday, we had a game. Friday, we had a game. Sunday, we had so many games. We still have a game tonight. It's Monday when I'm taping this. Oh, and let's talk about it. I watched some game film. You know what I love about the new NFL Pro? It updates fast. I got to watch all 22 for the Eagles and Dallas game, the Chargers game. I got to do some review of the Giants Washington game. Got to do some deep diving into it. I also happen to have watched so far the Jets game, and what was the other game I was watching? I did watch the Bucks game. I want to do more of a deep dive on Jaguars Panthers because that started out pretty exciting, and then there was a rain delay, and so I kind of focused on a few other games when that was going on. But so let's touch base on some of these games, all right? Because we had some weekend games earlier in the weekend, right? So let's talk about it. First off, Eagles, Dallas. Things that we weren't expecting, right? That was a pretty competitive game. And then there was a lightning delay. A lot of delays over lightning recently. Got to put up some more lightning rods, maybe build some houses, build a roof on some of these stadiums. But I digress. Ford Field had a little bit of lightning. They had to stop after, I think it was like the third quarter. They had to stop for about 45 minutes to an hour. So the game didn't end until well past midnight. But I watched it. I had fun at the end. I actually then got to watch it the next day on NFL Pro. And let's see. Dallas offensive line looking pretty solid, right? Holding up against a Jalen Carter-less Eagles defensive line, mainly because he spit at Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott spit in his general vicinity, although not nearly close enough possibly to really be considered spitting at him. Who knows? But maybe it was instigating, maybe not. I don't really feel like relitigating it. There's going to be fines. Carter was kicked out of the game without playing very much at all of the game, so that was fun. But let's talk more about the real meat and potatoes of this Dallas-Philadelphia game real quick. Dallas looks like it could be competitive on offense, at least unless there's a lightning delay in the middle of the third quarter. Then it becomes kind of hard to figure out if maybe just everybody having to slow down twice for a halftime and then again for a third quarter adjustment. Seems like that kind of slows down everybody, and you're going really hot twitch and all like tweaked up and all that sitting around, loafing around, watching cartoons, obviously, while you're waiting for the game to start. Might slow you down, but let's talk a little bit about what we saw. CeeDee Lamb, couple of drops, but also a major part of that offense. Javonte Williams seemed to be the lead back there in Dallas, at least for week one. Miles Sanders had a fun run and then a fumble. So because that's how Miles Sanders works, he's an enigma wrapped in a running back's body. That's been fun. No Jaden Blue in this game. The Dallas' offensive line played pretty well, held up pretty well. Like I said, it doesn't help that Eagles again lost some pieces in free agency this year. Lost Milton Williams, lost Josh Sweat. Brandon Graham retired, so that's three major pieces on the D-line of last year that went to the playoffs and then to the Super Bowl, then to go win the Super Bowl. That's gone. They also got rid of Darius Slay and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So Quinn Mitchell and Cooper DeJean had to step up, and they were pretty good at their jobs. But yeah, it seemed like Dallas was moving the ball pretty well. If things just tweak up a little bit better, if CeeDee Lamb catches a couple of balls that he probably should have caught, it probably looks a little bit better. Dallas might sneak out a win here. I actually think the biggest concern comes on the Eagles side of the ball because their offense did not look good. It was a lot of, first off, the route spacing was very not great. I think I saw a status that had the do I have the notes here from let me see if I could find the pre-snap motion notes on this game. And then Eagles, I have so many concerns. Lots of concerns. Some of it with the route spacing, some of it with just the question of Jalen Hurts, you're going to throw the ball? I'm starting to get concerned that this is the ceiling for Jalen Hurts, right? And we've already seen it. And I've heard he was staring Devontae Smith in the end zone, wide open, staring at him. And he said, I'm going to run 15 yards. And that's concerning because, like, that was clearly the read on that play. Like, Devontae Smith was wide open, nobody in front of him, well beyond any defender for about good 5 yards. Like, he was wide open. And Jalen Hurts looked at that and said, but it's so much easier to run 15 yards, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know if he's not trusting himself, his ability to throw the ball. Does he only believe in himself? Maybe him and Devontae Smith have an issue, or maybe he owes him money. We all heard the stuff about how A.J. Brown didn't get quite a bit of targets. I think it was one target at the end of the game. No targets for like 80, 90, 95% of the game. Like, I was literally down to the last 2 minutes. I don't know what the math on that mathing is. If I knew that, I'd be doing a lot more mathing for this show. But I digress. I did like Will Shipley. He looked cool. We've seen Saquon. We know Saquon's good at his job. He was good at his job. Saquon was the guy doing his job correctly and doing it well and making guys miss. Offensive line-wise, Landon Dickerson got injured or left the game at some point. There was I have to recheck if Mailata also got hurt for a little bit, but man, I'm really concerned about this Eagles offense. This is reminding me a lot of when they went to the Super Bowl the first time, and then Carson Wentz the following year was the lead quarterback, but everybody was getting injured, and they had to replace some pieces. This is having some of that feeling where it's like, oh, there's a step back coming, a really hard step back. I also think losing Kellen Moore did not help. This is what I was talking about with the route spacing and the route concepts, pre-snap motion, all these things that let me see if this is the right one. According to Next Gen Stats, hang on, this is one by Mina Kimes. Here. Good. I don't know why I moved that over to there. According to Mina Kimes, last year they ranked Dallas used motion at a snap rate of 42% of plays last night. Last year they ranked 29th. 42% would have been 4th. That was Dallas. So Dallas was looking good. Dallas was starting to use pre-snap motion under Schottenheimer. That was some of the good notes. That's a Dallas note. There was a note on... This is Brett Whitefield on TikTok, Twitter, X. I don't know what his name is. I actually don't know what platforms I'm even reading from anymore. So take this with a grain of salt. Eagles' observations look completely different. Almost no motion. They did have a little bit of motion, but it was a lot of plays out of the pistol. Let's see. Very limited RPO, read option usage. Yeah, it was a lot more scrambling runs, not designed runs this time. 2 scramble run touchdowns by Jalen Hurts. That's not typically how his touchdowns had been in the past. It's been a while since he's had scrambling for a touchdown run. So what does this mean? And like I said, when I rewatched the tape, the route spacing, so we did get good plays where there was good route spacing. Like I said, the Devontae Smith, I'm going to run it in instead of throwing it to you in the end zone play. That definitely happened. There's got to be a question at some point if Jalen Hurts is just Tyrod Taylor with a clutch gene, where he only comes on when the lights are really on at the end of the season, because I think we're back to where we were at a year ago before this offense really started taking off, surrounding itself around what Saquon Barkley does well, which is fine. Like, they've been functional like that. The problem was they were able to be functional like that because they had a really good defense and a really good offensive line. And I think they're about 1 or 2 injuries away from this not being a good offense anymore, from people getting fired. Sirianni, man, I think you might have screwed up again on one of your OC hires. It always feels like, it's hard. It is hard to get these hires right. And so we're seeing that go on right now. I don't want to touch too much longer on the whole Eagles thing, but yeah, it does feel like that the Eagles offense may be broken. Don't know yet. Could just be a 1-week thing. Could just be, hey, we're up, we're winning. There was some rain, it got slow, but man, tell me the difference between old school Tyrod when he was on the Bills and what basically Jalen Hurts is now. Other than Jalen Hurts is getting paid a lot more money, and if he's not hitting somebody down if it's not an outside the numbers throw, which, by the way, that was the other problem. They weren't doing a lot of outside the numbers throws. This is why I say the route spacing was very weird, because yes, Dallas was running a lot of zone, but you can throw deep on zone We've seen it plenty of times. You need zone-beating concepts in your arsenal. You need there to be route concepts that, hey, one receiver or one pass catcher is pulling the defender out of one zone, and now the other defender's coming in and filling that zone. And that's you need somebody to be pulling a defender in one zone, and then another pass catcher to be showing up in that zone right when that defender's duties are kind of coming off. So I get really concerned with, and again, it's week 1. But this is some base level stuff if you're a coordinator who knows how to coordinate, that they go, oh, right, when I design this, this is what I got to do. Now, he can adjust. They can adjust. But I'm saying I might be throwing a little bit of a cautionary flag, maybe a little bit of a red flag on the Eagles offense, right? Because the route spacing just didn't look great. I think they could have done a lot more. I know they were playing a lot of zone, but there's ways of throwing, and listen, Jalen threw one deep ball the whole time. Everything else was like design, quick screen, design, short area stuff. Dallas Goedert had a bunch of targets for like 40 yards. I don't think this was a functional offense for one game. Again, things can change. It's week 1, new OC. He can learn. I digress. But if you happen to be a fantasy football investor, I would maybe, if you have Saquon, you're sticking with Saquon. You got A.J. Brown. I don't know what you're going to get for him. Devontae Smith, people are going to look, he got 3 catches. He's a leading receiver in that department. I don't know. I got some concerns. Got some real concerns. Who knows? Maybe one of these receivers is out of here by the end of the season or after the season. I'm just saying. Anything else that I saw here? Javonte looked really good. Showed the vision on a 5-yard run. Yeah, he has limitations. Javonte has limitations, but very good, very solid. Kind of, Javonte Williams feels like we're getting haunted by the ghost of Jamal Williams. Again, I'm jumping back to Dallas. He kind of looks like slower David Montgomery. And funny enough, I'll be talking about another reference to David Montgomery spectrum running backs in a minute. But he looks like the original recipe David Montgomery before maybe he went and started working on his cardio and hung out with a new trainer and joined up with the Detroit Lions and had a decent offensive line in front of him. But this reminds me a lot. Javonte Williams reminds me a lot of Jamal Williams pre-David Montgomery signing when the Detroit Lions had Jamal. Javonte kind of feels like he's just basically Jamal with a different. He's like Jamal's cousin. I don't even know if they're related, but it does feel like that sometimes. Yeah, dude. Process versus results, right? This is what the issue is with the Eagles, right? Hurts scrambles left end, touchdown. All these scrambling, not throwing when the guys are open. This is a process versus results, and what's it going to get for you down the line? If you're making these mistakes now and you're not adjusting, remember, this is not a guy who showed up in the NFL yesterday. These aren't guys who just started throwing to. This isn't a rookie. This is a guy who's been in the NFL for several years now and really has a hard time just uncorking it and is turning into this kind of thing where he's like, oh, I'll just go ahead and run for the yardage. And I don't know if it's just because he doesn't trust the route concepts, the play, the players, but this could lead to something very bad down the line, especially because, again, Hurts could get hurt. It's not, knock on wood, not rooting for it, but, that's another thing that can come up. So, I digress. Let's talk about the Friday night, I hope you don't have a social life football game, right? Because, that was a hard one to get to want to be watching because the Chiefs and the Chargers would have been fun to watch, but, hey, we got to go put them up in Brazil. Why? Oh, well, because the LA Chargers don't sell a lot, because the LA Rams are more popular, and everybody likes to go to the Chargers Stadium because it's a fun vacation. So then why are we moving it out? Why are we moving the Chargers to Brazil? I have a lot of questions right now, but I digress. Make them lose a home game. Sure, that makes sense. Chargers and Chiefs. Chiefs lose Xavier Worthy, so they lose another starting receiver for a little bit. He hurts his shoulder in this game, running into Travis Kelce on a crosser. Chargers came out throwing, and They knew they were going to be down Rashawn Slater, but I think they knew exactly how to attack the Spagnuolo defense, a guy who likes to throw a lot of cool, crazy blitzes at you. And he got to Herbert once or twice on some of these blitzes. We got to see Omarion Hampton, the rookie running back, get some run in this. And let's talk about Mr. Omarion Hampton, because there's two Chargers players I really focused on when I went over the All-22 for this film. One was Omarion Hampton. The other was Quentin Johnson. He looked like he's improved. So what we saw was a lot of in-breaking routes, crossers, digs, deep crossers, where he seemed to get a lot of success. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. One of the issues I remember with Quentin Johnson going back to when he came out was that he just was not really good at tracking the ball and trying to catch over his head. It's something he has, like putting his hands up there, tracking the ball as it's coming down, spatial awareness. I don't know what it is, especially over the shoulder throws. He's not very good with that kind of stuff either, it feels like. Just very bad at tracking like this. Don't know if it's an eyes thing, don't know if it's just a spatial awareness thing, but what he is good at, he's a fast dude. He can get open. He's good at like those kind of intermediate route breaks, good at, running an out route, an in-breaking route, and building up a route design around that. So we saw 2 touchdowns from Quentin Johnson, both of them on crossers, one a shallow cross where the defender ran into somebody else and he ended up wide open. So that was good. And then we also saw later on a deep crosser where he's coming all the way down. He gets to reset and go ahead and catch the ball. So simple, so easily. Like, if you give him time, if he's getting wide open like that, he's going to feel great. Honestly, from his tape from Friday night, he felt a lot like a certain wide receiver on the San Francisco 49ers. It kind of feels like he's like I don't want to say discount, 10% off, 15%, 20% off Brandon Ayuk. Because Ayuk can do certain things that I know I have not seen Quentin Johnson be able to do, but it feels like Quentin Johnson has turned into maybe a good, really, like, wide receiver 3, maybe wide receiver 2 role player now. Now, that's not necessarily what you like spending a first-round pick on, but that wasn't this administration. But they're making chicken salad out of chicken excrement, if you will. And I like what I saw from Quentin Johnson, Brandon Ayuk's discount brother. We have Brandon Ayuk at home. Quentin Johnson. We have he is the TJ Maxx, Brandon Ayuk. Quentin Johnson, TJ Maxx, Brandon Ayuk. There we go. I like it. Because he's able to do a lot of the things that work very well in a Shanahan-style play-action offense. The crossers, the digs, the out routes, the shallow cross. And honestly, what Quentin Johnson's really good at is running after the catch. And if you hit him in stride, and this is where him and Herbert mesh really well, where if Herbert hits him kind of like in the plate area, he's good. Like, if he can catch it, if it's here, he's catching it. If it's above him, you want him to go up for it. He's like, dude, man, I got shoulder issues. Like, for a guy who's so tall and big, he's not really a contested catcher, if you will. But what he is good at is running these crossers, getting open, getting good separation on in-breaking and out-breaking routes. Like, we saw this a little bit with Marvin Harrison last year, where he got a little bit better at in-breaking and out-breaking routes on horizontal routes. I mean, Quentin Johnson looks 10 times better. Now, I'll say this. I think Marvin Harrison might be a better catcher of the ball. Did not get to watch his tape from this weekend, so we will touch base on that maybe a little bit later in the week. But I love what I saw from Quentin Johnson. I like the development. I like seeing that this team is utilizing him. And because he is still a deep threat, because he still has that speed, even if he's running a corner route or a post route, defenders have to respect him. They have to, and he'll pull defenders out of zones. The spacing here, right? Maybe all we have to do is get the Eagles offensive coordinator to link up and watch what was going on with the Chargers in this game, because the route concepts here were far better. Now, also, Jalen Hurts, not very much an under-center quarterback, prefers to run out of shotgun, which is fine because, honestly, because he has the legs, he could pull it off, as well as his shorts, has the legs, can pull it off. Same thing with the tush push, has the legs, can pull it off. But like I said, I really liked what I saw from Quentin Johnson. Again, he's went from a guy who was a complete bust in some people's minds, including I was not a huge fan of him coming out. The last 2 years kind of re-solidified that. I like what I saw week 1. I was very impressed. This is a team that's looking to build around what his skill set is and do what he needs to be. Do the things he can do that make him a good receiver. So I like it. Even his first catch was a. I love it. He's behind the line of scrimmage. He's coming across basically behind the line of scrimmage crosser, catches the ball and does a little bit of run after catch. That's something he's really good at. I was a big fan of what I saw from Quentin Johnson on Friday night. Let's talk about his rookie running back friend, teammate, Omarion Hampton, who, listen, man, sounds like the name of a reggaeton rapper from Jamaica. Omarion Hampton. I like it. I like his tape. I like what I saw. They had no problem putting him in there as a pass blocker. He did got once or twice in the blitzing zone. This is just because Spagnuolo does some pretty impressive stunts and blitzes, pretty intricate stuff. You're able to hold up against him. Most other teams are not running the blitzing packages that Spagnuolo's running. So the fact that they trusted him against Spagnuolo and that he actually performed pretty well in that department. We had a couple of blitzes that got home against Herbert, but one of those was not entirely his fault. There was just so many rushers that basically it was a numbers game. Herbert needed to get the ball out. So I don't really hold that against Omarion Hampton. I digress, though. Omarion Hampton. So when I scouted him coming out, I kind of saw the spectrum of, okay, on his good end, his high end was like Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor. Did not quite see that yet. On the other end, somewhere in that spectrum is, David Montgomery on the Lions, and below that would be actually his running mate, Najee HArris. Now, I do think he is the better running back in this backfield. I don't think there's any risk of Najee HArris being the better running back in L.A. What I think I see right now, because of his burst and his vision, which actually was very good, and I've heard some people who scout rookies on the interwebs say that they were not a big fan of his vision. And guess what? I think he showed very good vision, at least behind the line of scrimmage, reading the blocks, doing what he needed to do. His open field vision, I might have had some questions with after this. Hey, the things that, we'll talk about another rookie in a little bit. Jacory Croskey-Merritt did very well, at least in the game that I got to see him in. Now, that was limited snaps, too. So, extending it, creating hard angles for pursuers. That's one of those things he did not do in this game very well. And I don't know if he necessarily always got that opportunity. Remember, this is a good run defense, a very hard blitzing team, a lot of good linebackers and safeties. So again, the Chiefs were really trying to sell out to stop the run, and that's why they got butchered by Herbert just chucking it downfield. Hitting Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson. And again, Quentin Johnson, if you are in fantasy, I would pick him up. I don't know if he's going to be a top 10 receiver this year, but if they keep using him this way, especially if you're in standard leagues and you need somebody who's going to maybe be a higher reward kind of dude, I could see him working out in some leagues. I think that might be my number one waiver wire pickup of the week is Quentin Johnson. A little bit more about Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton. I don't think he's going to be at risk of losing his job long term to Najee HArris. I think the second the firework hit his eye and Omarion Hampton didn't the second that the firework caused an issue for Najee HArris and that the Chargers didn't sign a veteran free agent to help fill in that hole, I think we had a signal there that they were very comfortable with what Omarion Hampton can do. They've had all the way up till now to be able to do that. They could still do it, but there's nothing so far that we've seen where they've been doing it. So I digress. I kind of like what we have right now with Omarion Hampton. Good burst, good vision. Like I said, that's one of the things I do like is his burst. We're going to talk about Ashton Jeanty. His burst looks way better than Ashton Jeanty's. That was a concern that I had after at least watching Week 1 film of Ashton Jeanty, and he didn't look like he had the open field vision of Jacory Croskey-Merritt. But then again, they're running against different boxes here. These are all different teams and different offensive lines. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt, especially through my eyes. So I digress. I think that was That was great. The only thing I have really about the Chiefs is I was shocked to find out after this game, after watching this game, that Hollywood Brown had 16 targets for like 99 yards. What is going on? Him and Juju Smith-Schuster, if you have the opportunities to grab one of those guys in your leagues, Juju's going to probably be a fill-in player for a lot of people until Rashee Rice and Worthy come back. So, yeah, if you want to grab up Juju in a risky situation, or your receiver situation's not the best, you have deep benches, go grab Juju. We'll be moving on. Let's talk a little bit about the Giants versus the Commanders, right? Because that was the game everybody wants to hear about. I watched a lot of that. Giants. Let's talk good about the Giants. Tracy looked fine, I guess. Their offensive line's bad. I had concerns when they didn't sign. They didn't really make an attempt to upgrade the interior offensive line. Their big plan to fix the offensive line was have Evan Neal and Greg Van Roten, a 34-year-old guard who they've cut before. They didn't want him back, and then they brought him back, and then last year he played pretty well as a pass-protecting guard. He didn't play well as a pass-protecting guard in this endeavor. And to be fair, I do think Commanders are coached very well. They have a couple of D tackles, but they made those D tackles look even better. Like Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw. It's been a while since anybody thought of them as really like powerful star talent. Brah, they made those guys look good. Like that interior trio of John Runyon, John Michael Schmidt, and Greg Van Roten was not good, and that should not have been your backup plan going into this year. They especially with Russell Wilson as your quarterback, let alone a rookie as your quarterback. Russell Wilson, who does not have the wheels to extend plays anymore. This is the Russell Wilson that you need to what's worked well is having a good run game, an interior, like having good running backs to go ahead and pull the linebackers forward and buy some time and some under center play action. That's not what we had here. And that's not to say, at least they have Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor. Unfortunately, Andrew Thomas didn't play in this game, Walter. No, this was a good old James Hudson, good old Cleveland Brown James Hudson. Wait, let's see what we have the hat here. Cleveland Brown James Hudson. Woo! I'm very familiar with Mr. Hudson's tape. There's a reason why the Browns didn't want him back. And honestly, when they signed James Hudson, there was like a part of me that was maybe hoping that they were going to try him at guard, because I kind of felt like he had a guard's body. I never felt like he really looked like he was able to pull off tackle at any of his point in Cleveland as the backup tackle. So when he came over to the Giants, it was, at least he won't probably have to start at tackle, and they still have Evan Neal in there, and apparently then they were like, no, Evan Neal's a guard now, which, okay. And then he was also not playing in this game at all. He wasn't even active for this game. Okay. Let's their ability to go ahead and try to fix this offensive line has been, especially now the interior has just been a joke. Runyon wasn't a good signing when they did it. John Michael Schmidt has not been able to develop, which I don't blame John Michael Schmidt. I guess you do, but they haven't been able to develop any offensive linemen on the interior there. Honestly, they haven't been able to develop any offensive linemen there, period. Mabo looks okay in the preseason. That doesn't mean he's going to be good. You look at the rest of this offensive line, though. This is also a team that kind of, torched out Glowinski's end of his career. So after they signed him from the Colts. You look at, again, Roten at 34 years old. I mean, he was just whiffing. He was whiffing. And, again, it's at least the upside should have been all right, at least these three guys have played together at points of last year and during camp, and they were missing. They were blowing up. They're getting blown up on stunts. And then that wasn't even the worst part, because then when he did have a clean pocket, Russell Wilson would escape it and then ruin the play anyway. And then I don't know how much longer they could survive against it. That was a Commanders defense that was not very good. That was a bend don't break defense, and they were breaking the Giants. It was, what's going on here? Now, yes, the Giants defense played very well, as they should. I will say Tyron Tracy and Scadaboo look kind of cool. If they had offensive linemen who can block, I would feel much more comfortable. I think they should run a lot more outside zone and outside the numbers. At least they should have against Washington. They were having a lot more success, but I don't know. They couldn't convert in the red zone at all. They ran a terrible offensive line, eligible play, in the red zone where they tried to throw it to Mumbo, but Mumbo couldn't get open because, shockingly, this guy doesn't know how to route run. Oh, we're going to leak him out and we'll throw it to Mumbo. They were ready for that for some reason. Weird. So, I don't know. Neighbors, looked good when they had the opportunities to. They ran an under center play action shot to Neighbors, and it worked. Maybe do more of that. Maybe do some more under center stuff. Stop running out of the gun. Run some more under center shit. And maybe it'll work. I don't know. But again, then you also need. They were doing a lot of quick game and not even a lot of screens. It was just a lot of quick pass to Theo Johnson so he can drop it. Quick pass to this person. Oh, wait, Delvin Singletary's still running back. He'll run a couple of times for 12 yards. I digress. I'm not even blaming a particular person. It's just sometimes you're in this situation. You're like, I don't know how they fix this other than put in the rookie. Is the rookie ready? Because at least then if you're doing a lot of what they are doing right now, they could put Dart in and he can extend the plays and he could throw downfield. I just don't, you could hit the center of the field a little bit better. Wan'Dale Robinson was a huge part of this game plan because of course he was. The downfield throws weren't even connecting for Russell most of the time. So what are you doing? What's the point of this offense? This is going to be a very anemic offense if you can't run the ball effectively, if you can't run block effectively, and they can't run block effectively because their guards suck. Their guards are terrible. The best run block, I don't know. It's a terrible offensive line. When 4/5 your offensive line is not good, it's not going to be a fun situation. They have to get Andrew Thomas back for this to be a semi-functioning offense. And they go against the Cowboys next week. Thankfully, not with no edge help from Micah Parsons. He seems to be making the Packers look good right now. Let's talk a little bit about the Commanders. We'll move on. Two things I want to talk about. Deebo Samuel looked good. This is where I did like Deebo Samuel. Right? I didn't like Deebo Samuel as the number one if they couldn't get Terry McLaurin back. The second they got Terry McLaurin back, I started feeling better about what Deebo can do in this offense. With getting the singled up looks, getting him in motion. And they utilize him kind of like the way Shanahan utilized him. It was like Cliff Kingsbury said, I think I could just copy what Shanahan did 2 or 3 years ago and see what we could do. And it worked. I think it truly worked. I actually think I like what Cliff Kingsbury's been doing. And then there's Jacory Croskey-Merritt, who I'm sure a lot of people want to know. Again, because Austin Eckler got the start in the run in this. But, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, Bill's looking good. He's got that acceleration. He got some good acceleration there. And so we saw a 47-yard run. We saw a great touchdown run. He pops. And then he got very good lateral quickness. This is the issue with Scadaboo. Scadaboo thinks he's got Scadaboo is like Kareem Hunt, but he is not aware of how to play in the NFL yet. Where Kareem Hunt is not necessarily the fastest guy going forward, but he's tough and he's got decent lateral quickness and able to hop and has good field vision. I don't know if Scadaboo's there yet. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, JCM, I like what I saw there. Listen, they struggle against this Giants D-line. This defense is going to be good. The rotation here, I know people are being upset about the rotation of the edge rushers and figuring that stuff out and keeping them fresh. And you have Abdul Carter and KT and Burns and Lawrence, and why are you putting these guys in? Why are you putting Dexter? I don't mind any of that. They keeping them fresh. The 21 points is not an unbeatable number. Yes, they could have kept them to lower, maybe. I don't know. But also you got to sustain offense. And to be fair, I see the version of this offense where it works more functionally once they get Andrew Thomas back and once guys are healthy. But the problem is this was a beatable defense. This was not a tough defense. And so if you keep going forward or if Thomas gets injured again or somebody else gets injured, the wheels are going to fall off pretty quickly for this team. Did I have any other ones that I saw? I'll touch a bit on the Jets. I did not do any of the All-22 film on the Jets quite yet. So I do want to touch on that a little bit. I don't know about future usage, but Breece Hall is the guy. He's just awesome. I know he didn't get all the usage in the world. They rotated guys out. I don't know why. Breece Hall was dynamite when he was on the field. Legitimately was the best back. Braylon Allen looks like he's running in slow motion. So I don't know what they're all doing there. Justin Fields keeping his eye downfield. Love that stuff. Oh, look, Rodgers isn't dead yet. That's kind of cool. Maybe, we do get one more shot of him in a Super Bowl. Doubt it, but at least it was fun to watch this game. The back end of the Jets defense, it's not Sauce Gardner, kind of sus, so I have some concerns there. let's see. The D-line looks pretty solid for the Jets, so I'm liking that. Didn't like the Brandon Stevens thing. I think they should probably just try to stick Azarius Thomas in right now and get through the rookie learning warts if they can. Some of these throws by Fields were magical. I like it, man. I like what we saw from Fields. I like that we saw Garrett Wilson have a good day. I'm a big Garrett Wilson fanboy. I'm loving it. I wish I had more of my dude in. Like, that's the thing, fantasy, man. You get scared and you have him like in 1 or 2 leagues, but you don't want him in 3 leagues. You're kind of like, I like this guy. I don't want to be married to him though. I love what I got out of this year. Like, this is. I have a couple of leagues though. I have Garrett Wilson. I have a couple of leagues where I have some of these dudes where I'm very, very much a fan of. I might do some more all-22 tape of other teams that I'm going to run down on this list. Bucky looks good. Bucky good. I have that on my list of things to talk about with the Tampa at Falcons. Egbuka with 2 tutties. That looked fun. I did watch that. Bucks felt a little disjointed for a lot of this game. It might not have helped that they were playing their center at left tackle because they were missing Tristan Wirfs. By the way, that was some fun news that Tristan Wirfs was not playing. I mean, we already knew that Tristan Wirfs wasn't playing. What we didn't know was that Graham Barton, their center, was going to play left tackle. But overall, like, they figured it out and they won the game. The defense actually was far more concerning. The Bucs defense was far more concerning. The offense was a little rusty, but once they got in the mode, once they got in the zone, they started looking really good. Penix, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I have to do an all-22 dive on this guy again because I watched his tape last year. I had some concerns. I want to see if any of that changed. But and now we also know that London kind of got a little dinged up in this game. So, let's talk about one of my favorite teams that I'm not like. Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. Tua, is Tua broken? Who broke the Tua? Do we have to like unplug and replug him back in? I don't know if there's much you could talk about with the Colts Dolphins game because I think it's one of those things you're gonna have to throw out. One side of the field, like one team's offense looked totally broken, and that was the team that, like, hey, we were all a big fan of what McDaniels was doing 2 years ago. Tua threw multiple interceptions, a fumble. There was a Michael Pittman TD by Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones looked good in this game, and I think this was always my case with Daniel Jones. If you have to pay him $15 million a year, and you're paying him 3/4 of what you're paying him 1/4 of what you'd be paying a starting quarterback. Yeah, the extra players you get for that price, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a solid play out of him. Now, people are going to look at this game and be like, look, now he's Daniel Jones the God. And I'm like, relax. To be fair, most of the people playing defense on the back end for the Miami Dolphins that aren't Minkah Fitzpatrick are people they got to Build-A-Bear. So the D-line is cool, but also the offensive line for the Colts played very well, and the Colts were playing at home, and there's a lot of good things that were going for the Colts. This was one of those games you go, oh wow, the Colts look really good, and it might be overdone, but again, a really talented team. Tyler Warren looks really good. Michael Pittman looks really good. Jonathan Taylor looks really good. Adonai Mitchell had a catch here or there where he got a good out route from Daniel Jones, so maybe that will keep on growing forward. So. And Daniel Jones didn't look bad. Like, he had time, and he had time in the pocket. He was able to throw the ball. He had a lot of good talent around him. I think, again, this is like one of the things that I was like, listen, you put a lot of good pieces around Daniel Jones, you'll be able to win some games, especially against a team that doesn't have a defense. So, I don't know what to even talk about with Tua. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know if it's permanently broken or temporarily broken. That's just kind of a wait-and-see situation. We know they lost James Daniels for a little bit. That might be a week-to-week thing, which means guard-wise they're going to have some issues, interior offensive line-wise. Yeah, that's one of those ones I might not even look at all 22 as far as going super deep dive. Texans, quick note, looked like a team that couldn't pass block for a couple of seconds, playing a team that had great pass rush. So, yep. That was a very tight game, 2 good defenses, one terrible offensive line and terrible offense. The other one, I don't know what the heck's going on with the LA Rams. It used to be like the hottest show on turf. Now it's like the most boring show in LA. Like, it's like, oh, did you want to go ahead and watch the History Channel, but on mute? Detroit looked a little anemic against Packers. I have to do a more of a deeper watch on that. Titans at Denver, that was boring. Denver won, I guess. R.J. Harvey had a couple of explosive moments. J.K. Dobbins is the lead back there for right now. I think it'll probably be a 1-2 punch with Dobbins on the early downs and for the more complicated stuff. Niners, when there's a will, there's a way, I guess. Now we have to look to see if they add other pass catchers because, again, they did. They added Kendrick Bourne, signed with him for a $5 million deal. They were already kind of kicking the shoes on that one. Kittle might be out for a little bit with a hamstring. We don't know. Oh, the other thing that I watched, The Raiders-Patriots. Jeanty. O-line's getting pushed early. Not sure if that's props to the Raiders or a shot at the New England Patriots. He didn't make a lot. Like, this is one of those things where he's taking what's blocked for him, but we're not really seeing an explosive play here. We're not seeing anything really great. You know, he on his 4-yard TD run, power through to get the TD. He's looking like somewhere of the in-between of Najee HArris and Josh Jacobs. Not a lot of explosion to him right now yet. Again, one game, everybody. Do not make this sound like I'm murdering him. I'm just saying Ashton Jeanty for a top 10 pick for one game where the offensive line was getting some push at different points. It just, he didn't make anything more happen. He didn't make guys miss in the backfield. He didn't add to what they were doing. If I was going to rank the major rookies that I got to watch, because I did watch Trayvon Henderson in this game, but he only played 17 total snaps, and I don't remember seeing a single one where he was actually running the ball. They were all swing passes out of the backfield and screens and things like that. So that's what are we getting from this? We already knew he could do that. But for Ashton Jeanty, not loving his vision behind the line of scrimmage. He's not easy to take down. So like if things are blocked well, he'll require effort taken down. He looks like Josh Jacobs' little cousin, or just his cousin. He looks like his cousin who had less vision. Like he needs the LASIK so he could be as good as Josh Jacobs. Some concerns that he might be Najee HArris 2.0, but that's, it happens. But I'll be back to work on the rest of this. Other than that, but the rookie running backs, some good, some bad, some concerns, some fun.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous. About the past and about the future.